Hello there. This is Charlotte Jacobs with Thrive Academy, and today is Thrive Thursday. I'm very excited about this episode because we are going to be having a conversation with Brenda Rose Matheson about how she was just giving herself away with very few boundaries, even sleeping in her car because she had clients in the evening and didn't want to drive all the way home for the next client in the morning. Just kind of a ridiculous way of, running a business, and how she transformed that so that she had her first $17,000 a month, many successful months after that, and also had lots of time for self-care. So I'm really excited that you're here. Welcome to Thrive Thursday. If you haven't already, turn on your sound so you can make sure to hear us, because we're much more entertaining and engaging when you can actually hear what we're saying rather than just reading it. So make sure to turn on your sound. And I'll be bringing on Brenda in just a moment. By the way, if you are here, please say hello, tell us where you're from, and tell us what you do. We want to know what kind of coach or holistic practitioner you are so we can welcome you in the comments. And that is even if you are watching the replay. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump right in to our Thrive Thursday for today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Brenda. So Brenda Rose Matheson is a multi-talented powerhouse in business and personal leadership. Her ability for exceptional performance across domains led her before the age of 18 to earn her bachelor's degree, summa cum laude. Did you just hear that? Before the age of 18, summa cum laude, bachelor's degree. She became a published co-author in science, won a Grammy for her role in a best classical recording in 2002, and has shared the stage with hundreds of the world's top stars, including Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Martha Stewart. I hope you're saying, wow, right? And watching these phenomenal high performers that she worked with and loved struggle with high stress and chronic health issues and strained relationships led to a really deep passion to answer the question, how can we achieve great success and impact without sacrificing our health, our human connection, or our values? And so Brenda has dedicated the last 12 years of her life to supporting visionary leaders to bridge their high performance work culture with sustainable holistic practices to achieve a way of life and a way of business that empowers them to meet all of their needs and create even greater and longer lasting success. So she's worked with top business leaders, including founding members of Skype, Facebook, Google X, and top venture capital firms to achieve healthy, balanced success at scale. So I'm super excited to have Brenda with us. I'm going to bring you on, and here we are. So welcome, Brenda. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. And for the record, you are so beautiful. Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you wonderfully.
For the record, you are so beautiful. I would just watch you for 30 or 40 minutes with the sound on.
You're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
The sound on is just an additional benefit.
Thanks. Well, many people, so we're going to talk about what you do in a moment, but I also want to say that we recently just came from our Six Figure Speaker 2 event, and we got a chance to hear you sing, and it was so beautiful and extraordinary. It's always fun to find out what talents people have that we didn't know that they had. But I was just so blown away by your performance and your voice. And so I think it's really important that they hear our voices.
It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah. So let's start, because people always want to know a little bit about what you do. So tell us about your work before we actually get into the story of how you got to have your successful months.
Yeah, absolutely. The work that I've landed in as the thing I'm really most deeply passionate about is working with CEOs and visionary leaders who are already rock stars in their business and changing the world, but they're pouring their time and energy into their body to kind of like push it along or even kind of fight against it to try to get their work done in the world. Yeah. And I show them how instead they can actually transform their body from a liability into a powerful ally in their business and relationships. And the result of that is they become more successful in fulfilling their mission and actually become an even more powerful leader because their body is speaking the same message as what's coming out of their mouth. And people are going to receive them much more deeply and transform just by what they share.
I can still get the need for the work. I mean, as a CEO with 2 young children, I can say I've definitely had that experience of my body being a liability. Like, wait a minute, I got shit to do. What are you doing? You're stopping me. You're slowing me down. And the amount of time that Jesse and I actually spend managing our health and our bodies and our well-being. And, it takes a lot of self-care to operate at a high level. And I think some people don't have as much body debt. So maybe they can like run around like crazy and kind of kill themselves. And then at some point it catches up with them. So that's when they call someone like you, right? And they have you come out, and you've worked with some really high performance leaders. I read in your bio that you've worked with some of the founders of Skype and Google X. And, so you've been working with some pretty high level people to really help them have that vitality and to achieve that vitality. And so they can really perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such an honor. And interestingly, like I never set out to be a CEO. I really got into this because I love to sing and I love to teach and I love to help people heal. And I realized about 8 years ago that I was not going to be able to have the impact I wanted unless I learned business, learned boundaries, learned how to show up with power that equaled my desire to serve. And so it's been a long journey of really figuring out how those two sides of myself, the visionary leader part of me, and the part that needed to be a business leader, could fit together into a single way of being in the world.
So there's this funny, interesting thing that happens for a lot of us in business, and not for all of us, but I think for so many of us, the work that we do has a lot to do with our own journey, right? Like our own experience of the places where we got stuck or stopped. And, for us, we're teaching coaches and holistic practitioners how to attract more clients. And that's because of the pain and struggle of when we were first starting out, 16, 17 years ago, trying to grow our businesses. And so here you are sharing that story and that journey of, where you were kind of struggling in your own work and really wanting to find balance. So, and creating that for people. So I love it. Well, let's rewind to the time when, your business was doing okay, but you were really just giving yourself away, that when I've heard your story before, I just thought like the boundaries were really not there, So let's talk about like when you were sleeping in your car that it was just that bad.
Wow. Yeah, it's so funny and relieving actually that looking back at it feels foreign now, thank God, because it is so funny and kind of sad that I think a lot of people on this call will resonate that we know how to get things done and we know how to take care of ourselves. But actually, the more we care about getting something done, the more we tend to overgive and not take care of ourselves in the process. And so it's like I had money, I had the ability to go and get a job and do something, that took better care of myself. But I wanted so much to support my clients. I wanted to make myself financially accessible to them. I wanted to be able to work with them until late in the night if that was their schedule. I wanted to be able to drive to their house and where they were at. I wanted to be able to work with them early in the morning before work started, just to make sure that like they could access me, because I wanted so bad for everyone to receive this work. And what I ultimately ended up doing was role modeling to them the same level of lack of self-care that I was trying to help them heal. Yeah. And it was diminishing me financially, in my own kind of health and my own self of like self-respect and self-worth. And I knew it was not sustainable, but I also felt really trapped of like, I want to honor myself, but I need to do that in a way where I'm not disrespecting my clients or like feel like I'm taking the healing away from them to give it to myself. Mm-hmm. That was like the quandary I came in to thrive with, oh God, how do I solve this?
Yeah. Yeah. So you would, you were doing okay in your business. I've got a little echo. I don't know if you all can hear that. You can let me know. By the way, I'm trying to figure out this echo thing. Just want to say, okay, great. I see Blake is here and Montian is here and Lucia and Kea and Adam. So glad that you're here. Thanks for your comments to say hello. If you are just joining us, make sure to say hello. We're super happy to have you to join us for this conversation. So Brenda, let's talk about, things were going okay. I think you said you were charging $150 an hour, which for a lot of practitioners, you were doing body work and coaching your clients on their health and sustainability. For a lot of practitioners, that's a good rate. But you were working late into the night and then working early in the morning and just, not taking care of yourself. And so that's what you walked into the Client Attraction Summit with. Yeah. So tell us about what was the turning point for you that had, this pattern of giving yourself away shift.
Yeah. Whew. A lot of emotion comes up around that because it was so big. It was like I sat there, it was like just taking in this download of this higher level of truth. Because for me, these two parts of me, the part that wanted to serve and the part that loves to build systems and hold boundaries and make things work, and teaches other people how to do that, were at odds. And I had studied under so many other business leaders who, it's like I could feel their desire for authenticity, but there was always something that felt a little off. And I always had this feeling of, if I go out there and do what they taught me to do, the way they taught me to do it, at some level, I'll hate myself inside. At some level, I won't feel like I'm walking my talk, and I'll feel like a fraud, and I just can't do that.
Wow.
So I had tens of thousands of dollars, many tens of thousands of dollars of like invested in my business, not to mention like the opportunity cost and everything of, you know, not taking on another job. And I wasn't doing it. And what I saw when I saw Jesse and saw you up on the stage and the whole Thrive community, it was like, I felt this, like my whole body relaxed, and this feeling of, wow, if I were on a stage just like this, holding that same energy and doing things in this same way, I would love myself inside. And it's like tears streaming down my face of like, that is what it would feel like to do it right. 100% right, with no reservation. And it was the first time in business I'd ever felt that total congruence with so like this unadulterated giving and service, but also like really clear container in terms of really clear values and clear practices and templates and support to be able to consistently achieve those values in every area of business. I had never seen anything like at that level of depth of congruence before. And it was that it gave me really that role modeling of, this is how I want to do business. These are the kinds of people I want as my business partners, my clients, my mentors, and nothing else could be good enough for me, because this is what my heart says is right.
Gosh, I mean, like it's such the most beautiful acknowledgement, you know, just really thank you. And I think there is something, it's almost mysterious to me. Like, how do we even capture the magic of what's happening at Thrive? And I think there's a level of like the people that come together and really go, oh yes, this is for me. They're the type of people like you really smart. You've done a lot of your own personal work. You're really embodied. And, you know, and then you kind of get into a community like this where everything you're being taught, nothing feels icky, because we've really worked very hard to make sure we're always aligned with everything we're teaching. To not, you know, I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm saying something and there's some conversation in the back of my head, a voice saying like, oh, that's bullshit, you know, or oh, you know, just do this because it works, right? And so I think there's something in that magic, that there's a certain type of person with that certain brilliance and that commitment to personal development and you know, embodiment of alignment and integrity, that just goes like, oh wait, this is home. I feel seen there. And that doesn't happen for everybody. There might be other people who go to other leaders events and it feels completely aligned, and they don't have a niggle when, you know, and like that, oh, okay, I get that might work, but I don't think I can do that. Or because there are certain things that might be totally aligned for somebody else, and that's fine. But I get that for you, it wasn't until you came to Thrive that you were like, this is where the resonance is. This is where this is what matches for me. And I remember seeing you at that event. I have this beautiful picture of you. I think we actually have it on Facebook, that Lucia, beautiful Lucia, Parvone, she just changed her name, Pavone, that she took, that is just, it's a beautiful picture of you hugging Jessica Tweed. And I have this other picture of you with like your arms up, and you like have tears. Like, I feel like we got one of these moments where you like have tears and your arms are up, and it's just extraordinary, you know, to really hear the experience that you had of coming and feeling like you had come and found home. And so just super grateful to be able to provide that for you. Yeah.
And I want to reply to that, because that idea of we all have different standards of like congruence, that where we can show up and not have that conversation going on in the back of our head, is, I think, the heart of what it means to do business right and to really serve as a healer or a coach in this world. Because regardless of how we choose to run our business, as a healer, as a coach, as a space holder, we can only hold space for people to become as big as the field we're holding.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that each of us in this lifetime are called to hold like a certain size and shaped field. And that's the clients who are drawn to us are the ones who are looking to grow into something of a similar size and shape.
Yeah.
And that's the role modeling, right? And that's the attunement that we go through. We're actually bringing them into our more expansive field, which means that we can only really serve clients whose standards are within the field that we're holding and whose current level of showing up is within the field that we're holding, which means that, as the world grows and as the human race becomes more and more evolved, more of our heads are aware, more of our hearts are aware, more of our bodies are aware. And in order to really be a global leader and to be able to help people bring themselves forward, we need to meet them in the current way that they're holding themselves and meet them at the standards that their soul's really striving for. And the deeper a calling that we have and the more awake and attuned we already are, the higher our standards are going to be for who we take on as mentors or coaches or healers. And so the more we raise ourselves up, the greater we can serve and the more people are going to feel called to us. And I think that's like the secret magic of Thrive, is that you're really taking the head space, the heart space, and the body space and holding that so open. And everyone is really raising to that.
I love that. And I mean, I appreciate the acknowledgement, and I'm just, super touched. And when you were speaking, Brenda, I mean, you need to be on stages in front of 500 people. It's like, I feel like I'm getting a transmission as you share, like I'm tearing up over here because I'm so moved by the way that you describe the experience of leadership and what it really means to be a transformational leader. And I for those of you who are watching in the comments, like, love to see an amen or an because I definitely felt like myself drop in, and just take a deep breath of like, oh gosh, it's just there's so much truth, like a really deep truth in what you're sharing. So I love it. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So and it's such an example. So here you are, you wanting to up level yourself so you can serve these clients. And I can imagine doing this work with high powered CEOs. There's, they may not even have the level of, some of them do, but some of them do not have the level of consciousness you're holding, but they come to you and they're attracted to being in your energy field because of the space that you hold. And because of you bring this level of confidentiality, this level of compassion, this level of trust, and you hold that space of them just really knowing they can come in your field, be loved, be transformed, do the work, and they're going to get some really amazing results from that, just from them being able to drop into your field and not having anything weird in the space. It's really about being a better coach, being a better practitioner, by surrounding yourself with other people who bring you, like, that you actually resonate with and that, that works for you. So let's talk about, what was your biggest breakthrough during the summit? Like, what was that shift for you that had you decide, hey, I'm going to join Thrive. This is my community.
Oh, it was just this feeling of, this is who I am. And to not do this would just not even make sense. It was just like, I knew that it's like, I belong here and this is my path.
Yeah, really clear. Yeah. And so tell us about, what was this transition like? What was the turning point that had you go from, okay, charging $150 an hour, but seeing one client late at night, sleeping in your car so you could see the next client early in the morning, giving yourself away, no boundaries, not modeling what you want to teach them. What was that shift for you?
Yeah. I think it's been a year now. Wow. Super cool. I'm about to be on the success panel for the summit this weekend, which will be the 1-year anniversary. Yes.
Oh, nice. That's right. So it was cool. September last year.
Yes. September last year. So 1 year exactly. And there have been 3 shifts over this year. The first one was right out of the gate at Summit. I knew it was just time to do this and went straight into working with my coach to take my one-on-one sessions and structure packages and choose the clients who felt really aligned and offer to them to go deeper, and focus less energy on the clients who weren't feeling like a right fit, and really just focus myself and offer the results I really wanted to offer.
And I
So
would
that
say like, so meaning the packages, like when you actually able, instead of like one session at a time, when you
exactly,
were working with clients in a package, there's so many benefits of it. But one is your clients get better results because they're more committed. They're in a program with you. Like they're like, hey, we're doing this thing, not just for one session and then you leave. It's like, well, you're in my life. I'm committing to doing this work. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's a real thing. I noticed over the last couple of years, I would have clients who had a certain physical problem, pain, emotional issue, business issue. They would come to me. I would help them work on the issue. They would get immediate healing. And then they would also, start using something else like CBD oil or talk to some other person. And I would hear them talk about a month later, oh, this thing healed because I started using CBD oil. And I'm like, do you remember the session where like your entire abdomen shifted and all of a sudden this tissue started shifting a week before you started using the CBD oil? And they wouldn't remember it because they were seeing me as this sort of Band-Aid instead of seeing me as a results-oriented practitioner. And I realized I was supporting them in discrediting the work that I was helping them with, which meant not only that I was worth less money to them and less of a priority for them, but that they weren't coming back for more support, more of the things that were actually helping them, and it was shutting the door. And so
then let me just say this, like not only were you're discrediting yourself, they were not recognizing the value of what they were getting because you were not like in their life all the time. And the way you were describing what you do wasn't about like results and like really getting clear on what was happening for them and pointing that out. So they're not valuing you as much and therefore not able to go as deep.
Yeah. So here's the thing is like, I've always had raving fans because I just have this thing about me because I really do my inner work. But I was really struggling with putting it into words because I was trying to be everything to everyone. And so people would send me referrals and reasonably good quality referrals, but people would come to my door and say like, oh, so-and-so said you're just magic and I have to talk to you. Or I would help someone with like one issue and they would send people to me who thought that was the only thing I could do. And so I wasn't able to explain to my clients really the full scope of what I was doing. And the results to get. And so they weren't able to send me like the right people and send those people to me with the right expectations. Right. So I realized, although I was holding the right field, and they could
communicating it
in their hearts and their body, their mind couldn't understand it.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. It's like, there's so much about holding the way of being, as an authority and as a loving and compassionate authority and, bringing that transmission in that field. And then there's also the actual, like the structure and how do you communicate in a compelling way? How do you communicate in a way where people are like, oh, I need to work with you. And it needs like, you need to be my person.
Yep. Yeah. I had people say, oh, I don't have the money. Oh, I don't have the time. I'm too busy. I can't travel to you, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then pay someone else $500 or $1,000 an hour and travel an hour and a half north every other week to see them for the same thing that I could have helped them with because I wasn't communicating it. And that was on me. And it was just heartbreaking to watch them spend resources they didn't need to or lose out on the benefits they could have had, and me lose the connection, that deep connection that I wanted to have with them to serve them. And then for, me to just be struggling and giving myself away, I was like, this has to end. So the package is such a huge difference because the packages themselves are a positioning of the work. They help people understand it. They help people choose it, make a commitment. And then like, they know how to connect with me when they have certain issues. They know I'm the person to turn to. And I become really that mentor and advisor and not a Band-Aid, which is exactly what I want. And it feels so right.
And being in your presence, I think we can all feel that, of course, like, right now it's like, well, of course people would hold you as their mentor and their person to help them achieve the vitality that they want and have that life balance. And of course they would, but if we were to meet you back then, when you walked into the summit, you weren't holding that authority. And part of it was just simply structure and the way you were offering your work.
I was holding it somewhere down here.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not letting it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked with your Thrive business coach and you created your packages. You said there were 2 other shifts. So what were they?
Yeah. And so just by creating the packages, and I didn't really like know my niche clearly. I was terrified to even speak my niche.
Right.
But just by creating the packages and going deeper with the clients that I already had, I brought in $17,000 of cash, not just new sales, but cash in the first month before I even started the mastery program.
Oh my gosh. That's like right after summit, right? So
it was right after summit.
Yeah. So a year. So it's just crazy to think about, here you are, your future self. If you could have told your previous self that was walking into the Client Attraction Summit saying it was tomorrow, right? Because there is actually a Client Attraction Summit happening tomorrow in San Jose. So say you were to say that to your, to tell yourself like, this is what's going to happen for you. Would that have been believable for you?
It would have felt like a crazy pipe dream. Like my head would have been like, logically, it makes sense. It should be possible. But I would have felt like such fear in my body that I would have found a way to run away from it. So much of it was just like, I needed to feel safe to come out of my shell and be honored and not worry that if I screwed up, I was going to be seen as too small, and not worry that if I succeeded, I would outgrow the people that I loved and have to start all over again, which has been my patterns my whole life, is like, not wanting that tall poppy syndrome of like, if I succeed, people are like, no, well, instead, like the response was, wow, that is so inspiring that you did that. I'm going to try it in my business. Thank you so much for sharing and for being courageous and doing that. And so we just inspire each other and build each other up instead of like trying to keep each other at a certain level. And it's so refreshing. It's like, these are people I can grow with.
It's so beautiful. And I think, and that's what these interviews are about. These interviews are about, wow, you did it. Let's share. Let's pass on the wisdom and pass on the transmission so that others can have the same thing too. Because really, truly, Jesse and I truly believe, we were talking about this the other day, because my dear girlfriend, Erin Delaney, like she's like one of my best girlfriends ever in my life. She's the kid's godmother, used to actually do warm-ups on stage at Thrive. I was sharing about some of the stuff we're doing with health, and I was sharing with her, and I'm super passionate about it. And she's like, gosh, maybe you should teach that sometime. And it's like, well, I started out as an acupuncturist. Jesse and I are super passionate about holistic living becoming the planetary norm, like about people having the resources and access to the vitality and to the empowerment that they need, both like that aliveness that is who we be as we walk through the world, that obviously our bodies empower. And then there is, how does our mind and spirit empower that? And, what voices are coming here? Are we actually allowing ourselves to celebrate our greatness and our accomplishments and be excited about those, instead of saying, oh, you shouldn't be bragging? So that really, this work that we're doing is about empowering other coaches and holistic practitioners to get that out there, like that ripple effect, like, let's do this together. And so I love that you're here, because you're sharing, you're here in the spirit of, let's do this together. Let me tell you how I did it. And that really served you. And that's one of the things I love about the Thrive community. There's like the mentorship of like somebody that's, just coming into the community and not knowing and starting out. And it seems like, oh, I can't have that. And then there was like, wait, she had it and he had it and she had it and maybe I can have it, that belief and that mentoring. And so now you went from this position in Thrive where you were the one being mentored and loved and guided as you were on your own journey. And now you show up as a leader in the community and to guide and mentor other people. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you for this.
I love it. I love it. And actually, one of the things that changed my life the most about Thrive was that I was so excited about Thrive. I started bringing all my friends to Summit, like the ones I knew, like just needed to know this. Yeah. And in the last 2 summits, 4 of my friends were like, wow, this is like the thing I've been looking for, and decided to join the community. And watching these people that I loved and the way that they had been so committed to growth, and also the ways they'd continue to struggle, all of a sudden have these huge breakthroughs, and they were able to grow in ways they'd been stuck. And we were able to share more in the business realm more deeply because of what Thrive was able to give them. I was like, wow, this is not just something for my success, but this is something where I can take the people I love and serve them better and be closer to them. And just, it was like, I don't even know how to put words to that, but this like, thank you on behalf of everyone I love, for being a resource to make this possible.
I love it because it's going from the fear of I'm going to outgrow my friends that I love to, hey, they're going to grow. We're going to grow together. Let's go. We're going together. All right. So you had said, so there were two things. There was the packages. And then you said there were two other things. Niche wasn't one of them because you just couldn't choose, which is fine. It's a little harder to do it. And some people actually find themselves getting a little stuck and stopped and not moving forward. But you were like, I don't care if I don't have my niche, I'm still going. So what were the other two things that shifted for you?
So shift 2, I still could not quite settle on my niche. I felt all over the place. And after I'd had those first couple successes with the clients who felt right, really wanting to go deep with me, I wasn't even willing to make offers to potential clients when anything felt wrong. And I blamed myself for a while. I'm like, why am I not making an offer? Am I just scared? And I realized it was this deeper sense of integrity, wanting to come up and saying, don't invest in people who aren't willing to invest in what feels right for you. And so I went through this kind of scare of like, oh God, what's going to happen? And what ended up happening was I'd set myself up with the right, aligned referral partners. And I got referred a client who was just amazing. And has become one of my favorite people in the world. And we immediately clicked. And the first session that we had, it was just clear that there was so much more that we could do together. And I was just sitting there in the middle of the night and I'm like, I think I want to work in his company and help him with these major projects. I think I want to do this. And I went through this whole process of is this my truth? Is this my empowered alignment? And the answer was yes. And so I texted him and I said, I think I really want to work deeply with you in your business as well as in your personal life. And he was like, really? Oh my God, I would be so honored. And this beautiful thing happened where we both saw each other so deeply that I was negotiating to give him as much as I could, and he was negotiating to give me as much as I could. And I ended up with even a bigger role and about twice as much compensation as I was originally looking for, and giving way more value than I thought he would be open for. And it became this really amazing partnership. So I ended up getting $10,000 a month just from that one engagement. And there was one month I also did another $4,000 in other clients, so $14,000 a month there. And what that proved to me was that it's really about finding a few of the right quality people, not settling on, anyone who comes through the door who isn't absolutely terrible, but really waiting for that complete yes. And that really magical things happen because I was positioned, he was positioned, we were both co-negotiating for the maximum value we could create for each other. And it really was okay, this is who I am. This is who I want to work with. This is the rest of my life. I can just do this.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So there's that higher end client that is just the perfect match.
Yeah.
And waiting for that, willing to actually say no to clients that weren't a good match. And I know something happened in that process because when I actually talked about what we were going to talk about today, that there was this idea of, you had this amazing $17,000 a month, which is kind of blew you away right after the summit. And that really allowed you to go deep into your own healing process to kind of uncover, because there is, part of the process of really growing into a business owner and especially growing in a transformational leader is that you have to unearth some of these things that are inside that are in the way of you having that full being and authority and presence and confidence and willingness. And so I know that you had a little that big month actually gave you the space to go deep, and it gave you the space to say no to some clients that weren't a good match and to wait for the right clients that really wanted what you had to offer.
That's so exactly right. And it really drove the point home that like we can't ever really like the process of transformation, whether it's us holding our clients through it or us going through it ourselves, you have to fall apart and put yourself back together. You have to go deep, and you can't go deep enough when you're on the pay the bills treadmill and you're always thinking about like, okay, but I need to make sure I have food for tomorrow. I need to make sure I have rent for the first of the month. I need to make sure I have this. Oh, my car just broke down. I need to, and when that's the thing filling your mind, you can't let that go and let the next level up fill you. Mm-hmm. And so that first month I had created the security and also a reflection of a higher truth that I spent the next like 4 months shifting into. And then that client engagement 5 months in, which ended up being a $40,000 total engagement, that gave me the fuel to go through the next about 6-7 months of really deep transformation, so that really the third shift could happen, which I'll tell you about in a minute, which is where I finally feel like I'm where I want to be in my business. I'm on purpose in all the right ways. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't been able to get out of survival to be able to align so I could invest in myself to get here.
Yeah.
I owe that to you, Charla.
Oh gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And there's this place, like I appreciate the acknowledgement, and I know that we do amazing work at Thrive, and you have to step up too, that it doesn't happen. Somebody could sit in the rooms and not take action and not be committed and not get results. And yet it's those that show up that really go to play, like I'm here, I'm committed, it's happening. That's when the magic really happens. And so really want to thank you for the, stepping up and the work that you did, and, the work that you continue to do. And it's been really fun to get to know you. There's this interesting thing when someone first comes into Thrive, it's like, oh, I like you. And I know your name and I'm watching you from afar. And then there's this magic that happens as the training starts to happen, and then there's all the transformation that starts to happen, and then it's like, wow, you're getting a lot more attractive. Like, you were a good looking woman before, but like, look at you, like you just are so gorgeous. And there's that, it's like, and that comes from that inside out transformation of the healing that happens, and the growth that happens, and the embodiment that happens. And so it's been really, really fun to watch you and get to know you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a beautiful reflection. And, I was just at a party over the weekend with some very high consciousness friends who I've known for like 4 years. And a number of people said to me, like, I see you now in a way I didn't see you before.
Wow.
One person said, like, repeatedly, like, you were always beautiful, but you're just more beautiful now than I've ever seen you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up with like a lot of self-conscious image, like, oh, I'm not one of the pretty girls, I'm chubby, all of these things.
Right. And, I hear you, sister.
the beauty is just coming from like feeling okay with who I am and just radiating my truth. And it's like, I think the number one lesson here is no one's going to invest in you until you invest in yourself. No one's going to want to commit to working with you until you've committed to working on yourself.
So good. So good. Yeah. So thanks to your spirit for saying yes, and for, hearing that, listening to it, moving forward. Now, and you said there was a third shift. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So the third shift was thanks to shifts 1 and 2 and being able to just let myself fall apart and be a total mess. So it's not like, oh, magically everything was easy. It was definitely like an investment. And like what came out of that was like, I finally did really understand my niche. Like I'm sure it'll continue to refine, but like where I feel fully like this is who I am. These are my people. And it wasn't by going out and finding it. It was really by understanding who I'd always been, but just really clearing the cobwebs out of the way to have the courage to see what was always there.
Yeah.
And so I'm now using the information in the Get Leverage and the speaker programs, as well as the mastery work, have built all of my whole series of programs. And I have my first introductory program running now, which is going to be the foundation for all of my introductory content and teach leaders really the value of their bodies and their lasting success. I have my first 3-day paid live event at the end of October. And I will be starting like the full group mastermind 1-year program for a group of 10 to 20 like top level spiritual aligned business leaders in next February. So it's like all like the dates are in the calendar. It's happening. I have the business model. And I'm at the point where, you know, my target's no longer 10,000 a month. I'm actually going for 25,000 a month now as my new goal that I want to solidify into, which is going to let me pay off all of the debts for everything I've ever invested in. And buy a house up in Marin that's going to be a retreat center, and prepare to have a family and kids and just continue investing in all the things they care about. So
beautiful.
It's like it's been this like 10-year, like, I know I need to invest in this. I know I need to invest in this. I know this is my purpose, but why is the debt mounting? When is it going to pay for itself? I believe in it, but it hurts. What the heck? To actually having the money come in, having the systems, having things that like a way of being, and my programs that it's like I want to do this for the rest of my life, and that it's going to take care of me, and that the investment I've made was all the right things, you know, and that it's coming back now. So
beautiful. I love your vision. I love your plan. I love the, you know, I really do find that so much of the work, both the how your business becomes successful and how you actually step most beautifully into your own being, it has a lot more to do with clearing away. You know, there's like the inner work is about clearing away what's not you and moving that out of the way. And that is all of our work as conscious adults, right? To clear away what isn't ourselves, and that, you know, we're constantly doing that work. And then there is the outer game work that is about getting the templates and the systems and the getting the coaching to actually, you know, be able to communicate in a compelling way. Like those are learned skills. That's not something that we come up with. So a couple of things. First, if anybody wants to find you, where do they find you online, Brenda?
My website is somaticleadershipacademy.com. So it's spelled SOMATIC, leadershipacademy.com.
Wonderful.
And there's a free gift on there for you. You can go and sign up. It is the 7 signs that your body may be sabotaging your leadership success.
Beautiful. I think many of us can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, it was just really, really wonderful to have you here. I'm looking forward to having you at the Client Attraction Summit this weekend. And for those of you actually coming to the summit, you'll get to see Brenda in person. She's going to be here on our Summit Success panel. I always hand select 6 of our graduates. It's a really hard choice because there are hundreds. And I do this process where it's really like, okay, I feel like Spirit just really downloads, like, who are the ideal people that need to be there to represent the most variety of experience and background. And, you know, really, hopefully you can find yourself in someone there. And so if maybe for some of you, you found yourself in Brenda's story and you'll really be excited to meet her this weekend. And for those of you that are coming to Summit, we're really excited to meet you. And for those of you who have heard this and said, well, maybe the Client Attraction Summit is the place to be for me. Like maybe that is my community that I've been looking for so long. Maybe Jesse and Charlotte are my mentors. Maybe that this is, you know, the missing link here for me. If you are interested in learning more about the Client Attraction Summit and interested in learning how you can claim a full scholarship, you can go to giftfromthrive.com/summit. And you'll get access to a really cool free video series that'll be super valuable for you. And you can learn about how to claim a full scholarship to join us. So I just have had so much fun with you today, Brenda. I don't want this interview to end. I want to keep talking. But we all have things that we've got to do today, including getting ourselves ready to get over there to the event. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. Any anything you want to leave people with before we hop off?
Good question. Besides the fact that I just never want to stop talking to you, Charlotte. It's so good. It's like, this is just what I want to do.
It's a girl crush.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's like, it's great. It's like we get paid to like just talk to each other. It's like, high school being on the phone all night, except with money coming in the door, right? The best job in the world. Right. I think that really is the final message, is that Thrive is where I learned how to really live my passion every day. I literally I stand on a stage and I talk to people, I help people grow. I just write about the stuff that's interesting to me and get to share deep love with people. I'm going actually up to my client's wedding today. I've been working with her for a year and just did an immersion last week to help her just clear the final cobwebs to be ready to walk down the aisle. And I'm going to be there and for her big day today, and then drive straight down to Thrive after. And
beautiful.
It's like, that's that's my life. It's a life of love. It's a life of passion. It's a life of deep connection, and a life of the financial abundance that's allowing that to happen. So I know that's something so many of my friends have looked for but not known how to create. And for all of my friends who that's been their dream and their quandary for so many years, like those are the friends I say, you have to come to Thrive, because it's the only place I know for you to get it in your body. And it will cost you nothing. Just come, and so you can understand what I'm talking about. And so I really look forward to seeing all of you who are going to be there this weekend or a future summit, and just sharing this life with you.
Beautiful. And I think, the message I want to leave you all with is that you can have this, that this is possible for you. It happens at a different pace. Just like, my 7-year-old, his second tooth came in a little bit later than some other kids, but it's just like we all sprout at different times. And so I think your story was so inspiring. I felt deeply moved, and I feel like I got a transmission today. So I imagine all of you did. So super beautiful. I can't wait to see so many of you. Thank you again, Brenda. All right. Until next time, everyone, this is Charlotte Jacobs signing off, because your clients are waiting for you. Bye-bye, everyone.